I see my face on a phone screen more than I do in the mirror, which is actually wild to say. And I was seeing my face on a filter more than I was ever seeing my normal face. Every time I take the filter off, I genuinely would be like, like you look horrific. And then I look in the mirror and be like, I don't look nice today. So I felt very reliant on filters. I didn't feel like I could ever post without them. Hi, I'm Sadie Bass. I'm 27 and I live in South London and I'm a social media influencer. I always kind of posted stuff on my own Instagram, like just for fun, even when I was younger. Like I always loved like beauty influencers and YouTube. So I just naturally did it on the side. But I would say that was like a good 6 years ago. So I feel like I have been trying to do it for a long time. And then when I started working in fashion, influencers were just coming up. And I remember saying to my manager, like, we should start doing things with influencers. And they were like, no, it's not a thing. Like, we're just focusing on magazines. And I was like, no, like, seriously, this is where we should be heading. It kind of kicked off when I got furloughed from my job because I was like, oh my God, I have all this time on my hands and lockdown and I was really bored. So that's when I first started actually like talking on Instagram and started talking about like important topics like mental health and body confidence. And I never really spoke. I always tried to be like other influencers. Like at the time it was very like Notting Hill. You would do like perfect outfits. You wouldn't have a hair out of place. Like that was the sort of scene at the time. I was trying to fit into it and it wasn't really going anywhere. And then one day, like in lockdown, I was really bored. I just started talking about mental health. And because everyone was in that same kind of like feeling the same way at that time, I think people just responded to it. And then when I went back to my job, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Where I started posting body confidence was where filters blew up. They sort of came on and it was on your Instagram stories. And that's when I started talking on stories more. So obviously I was seeing my face, like I see my face on a phone screen more than I do in the mirror, which is actually wild to say. And I was seeing my face on a filter more than I was ever seeing my normal face. So every time I take the filter off, I genuinely would be like, like you look horrific. And then I look in the mirror and be like, I don't look nice today. So I felt very reliant on filters. I didn't feel like I could ever post without them. And I felt like I'd started going backwards because I was like, well, I've done all this work and I sort of promote to love yourself. But now I felt like a bit of a hypocrite because I was like, I'm talking about my body, but I'm not showing my real face. And it was when I think I just came off the pill as well. So I started getting like really bad spots, like really bad skin, which didn't help. And I was like, body confidence isn't just for your body. It's also for like your face and everything. And I think, I can't remember who said it, or I saw a quote of someone saying like, we should be the change that we want to see in the world. And I think it just clicked in my head because I was like, we all say, oh, filters are damaging and this is doing this. But all of us have the power to just stop using them or like, I don't know, promote to not use them. And I was like, yeah, that could be me. And maybe that would help one person be like, oh yeah, I don't need to use a filter. So I just went cold turkey. I just woke up one day and was like, I'm not doing it. And to be fair, within a week, it did help. I sort of got over it. Because obviously I wear makeup and you do things to change yourself, but it's that extra thing that I think was starting to warm me a lot to the point that I genuinely like didn't like myself at all without them. So I do feel, yeah, a lot more refreshed about it. And I don't even think about it because I know I'm never going to use one. So it's always like, it's just not an option for me. When I first did it, it was the scariest thing I'd ever done in my life. Like I remember posting a YouTube video where I was talking about my body for the first time and I was like shaking, or like I think I was just showing my body in bikinis. It was nothing even dramatic, but I remember being like, I can't believe I'm posting this on the internet, like everyone's gonna see how I actually look. Because I'll be honest, I did used to edit my photos quite heavily because I think a lot of us did. And even if I did wear bikini or underwear, I used to like airbrush it or smooth it, or like genuinely I would change my body. And obviously it's not nice to have to admit that now, but I don't use filters or anything now ever. So to actually just be honest and be like, this is me, I just remember shaking and I was like, I can't look at the comments, I can't do it. And I think even I just posted a photo wearing underwear and not posing, like I just stood with my like belly out, and people were so nice. And I was like, wow, I never would have expected that, because I used to get trolled as well. Like I'd get people messaging me saying, oh, you're really fat, or like people would message my boyfriend at the time and be like, your girlfriend's disgusting. So I was quite worried that that's what everyone thought. But then when I was honest, I realized actually there's a lot of girls in my position. And then I think once I did it a few times, it became very natural for me to talk about these things. And I think it's what actually helped me get to the point where I do feel comfortable with myself. Definitely on TikTok and YouTube, it's more female. And then Instagram is still more female, but there is a lot more crusty men. Sorry. I had a video go viral. And yeah, they all found me. And that was even another hard time in my life because, again, for a year, I'd had all positive female people like following me, and like it was all girls messaging me. And then one video went viral for the wrong reasons, and it was just like me wearing underwear. It wasn't sexual, anything like that. And it got 4 million views, and it was just constant men every day, which is a side of it I never thought about because I was, well, I'm doing this for women, but I can't control who looks at my page. It was horrific. Like, it was like I had to stop going on Instagram because every message was from a man, and it was really sexual or gross. It was either basically saying like, I'm obsessed with you or you're ugly. That was the thing. And then they got into my emails. Like, it was for 2 weeks like harassment basically. But honestly, I'm so bad. If a guy even likes my story, I like block. I'm like, no, not today, sorry. Now I'm a little more aware of the things I post, and I don't post as sexy stuff. Like, obviously I find it empowering to be like that, but I also have to protect my page and like the kind of people that are drawn to it. So now I'm a little more, like careful with what I post, but still trying to get the body confidence thing out, which is really sad. And loads of girls in the space have the same issue. There is like a downside to it as well. Like, you are sharing your body. It's quite a big thing. And also if you share that kind of stuff online, there are probably brands that won't want to work with you anymore too, just because of the, I guess, nature of it. So that's a big decision I had to make as well. Like, I know the things I talk about too, like even just stuff like sex toys or anything like that, I know certain brands are going to be like, okay, it's not the image we want to promote, but I don't care because I'd rather be truthful. I was always a very like naturally skinny kid. Like, you know, you just see everyone will be like, does she even eat? I just wasn't really like, me and my brothers were all very like little and bony, and I always ate whatever I wanted. Like, genuinely, I was all for, I used to eat 3 packets of crisps a day. I was just like, I'm one of the lucky people. And I was quite obsessed with models when I was younger, you know, when it's like Tumblr and everyone, they used to post all these like really damaging quotes about being skinny, like, you know, Kate Moss, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels and all this. And I was very in that culture when I was younger. And then I moved to London and I was 20. And people say you go for a second puberty, or like past your 20s, you sort of become more like womanly. Like, suddenly I had boobs and I was like, whoa, where did these come from? And I started working an office job, which means I wasn't in retail, running around all day, stood up. So I was in an office job and there's like snacks every day, like donuts. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And honestly, I was a size 8. I've always been size 6'8". In a year, I went from that to a 12. And it was the wildest thing, because I think with your identity, like, I always just place myself as like, I am a slim person. So then to have to throw out all my clothes and completely change the way I feel. And then people would make comments, of course, because it's, you know, you have family members who are like, oh, you're thinning out. And you're like, just layers of crap like that. And that really messed with me, because I'd never had to worry. I'd never been on like a big diet or anything. That's when I started getting a few more followers too. And then I get like a few little troll things. Like, I remember one time I was wearing a crop top, and oh my God, a girl sent it to me, the picture like of my story. And she went, oh my God, look at her rolls. And I don't think she went to send it to me. But I remember seeing it and like bursting into tears, because I was like, everyone thinks I'm disgusting. And she literally had like, be kind in her bio. I was like, oh, this is so bad. So I mean, it was just a very weird place, I think, as well. Like, there wasn't body confidence influencers. I had never come across anyone saying that it was okay to look the way I looked. So I just always assumed I was wrong. This had gone on for like a year, 2 years, where I was just feeling really crap, and it started to consume my life. It was just like fad diets, always trying to lose weight. And I would honestly wake up, and this is so sad to say, but I'd wake up and my head would go, don't feel happy because you're big or you're fat. Like, you're not allowed to feel happy. And I think in lockdown, I had a lot more time to think about it all. And I was like, I just got bored of hating myself. Like, I was like, really, I get one life. And I started to discover body confidence influencers. Like, I saw this girl, she's Australian, she's called Ariella Nisa. And that was the first image I'd ever seen of a girl who had like stretch marks and cellulite, but she was wearing a bikini. And I remember just being like, she looks incredible. Like, honestly, I was like, she's stunning. She's so confident. And I thought she had a very similar body to me. So why do I not feel the same way about her as I do myself? And that sort of inspired me to post it myself and made me feel more comfortable. I can honestly say I go weeks without really, it doesn't cross my head, my body. Like, obviously everyone has bad days where it's bloated or like, I don't know. And I'll go out wearing things that are tight and I don't care if my belly like jiggles. I just literally don't care. And then it's also got to the point I still get troll comments, but I find it funny because I'm at such a better place that I'm just like, oh my God, I feel bad for you. Like, I feel sorry for these people that must be so bitter to like post that. But then ones about my personality definitely hit a bit more. If you hate my body, whatever. But if you're like, oh, this girl's this, I'm like, oh my God. Even when I was slim, I did go to modeling agencies and I was still like too big, just the way even my hips were always wider. You can't really change your bone structure. And they were like, yeah, you're too short. And it's kind of one or the other. You can be short, but you also have to be really skinny, or you can be tall and you can be plus size. Like, it just was very different back then. And I just like obviously let that dream die, because I was just like, it's not going to happen. So I'll go into fashion, whatever. And then I remember Herbie K asked me to come in for a casting. And I was like, well, it's sizes D to K as well. And I was like size C boobs. I was like, why are they even emailing me? I thought I'll just go. And I did write in the email, like, I'll come, but just to let you know I'm a C. And they didn't really seem fazed by it. So I was like, all right, whatever. And I went in and that's where I discovered I'm actually an F cup. And I was just wearing the wrong bra. And obviously that was nice because they show women of different sizes, like different ethnicities. Like, even one of the campaigns I did, we shot with like a trans woman as well. Like, they're so accepting. And then they were just like, yeah, you've got the job. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was, honestly, I remember walking to the set like that. I just, the whole day thought someone was going to be like, oh, actually, like, we don't want you here anymore. Like, I was so nervous, like posing. And these other girls, honestly, they were actual models, like full on, like models, like had agents. They just emailed me like DM me on Instagram. I was like, how am I here? So that was really surreal, but it again did a lot for my confidence, because I was like, if I can do this, it was quite validating. I don't know if that's the wrong thing to say, because I shouldn't have to have a campaign to feel validated in my body, but obviously it was like a big moment for me. And then I've gone on to do about 3 or 4 with them. Each time I get so much more confident. I'm like dancing around now when I go on there. It made me realize it's nothing to do with your body. Like, it's how you present yourself. Like, she's just so confident that it makes you look at her. And I was like, it's actually not about our bodies. It's how we feel that projects it. And that made me realize that going on shoots like that, for sure. But I think a lot of us are like, especially when we feel bad about ourselves, we're scared to like try and look sexy or feel sexy because we don't feel it inside. So we're like scared to even look at our bodies like naked. Of course, it's quite like triggering to just stand there. And when you stand in the mirror, like, no one's gonna look good. So I'm like, you need to actually pose, like, just to be like, and like give yourself affirmations. Like, even if you don't feel it, I always say, just be like, oh, you look sexy as today. The thing that helped me too was stop saying bad stuff. Like, because you don't realize that if you actually counted how many bad thoughts you say to yourself per day, it's disgusting. Like, you would never say that to anyone else. Like, that's actually abuse. It is. We're doing it to ourselves. It's going into our subconscious. I stopped even using that language because, again, like you said, like, have I become more aware online? Like, for sure I have. Like, the things I used to say about myself online, like, I'd be like, I feel really fat today. I don't think I would use words like that anymore, especially because, you know, it's like when you have a friend who's a bit smaller than you and she's saying she looks fat, and then you're like, but I'm bigger than you, so what? Like, that's so damaging. So I think you're allowed to feel shit about your body, but it's like changing the language a little bit. Like, you're allowed to say, I'm having a bad body image day, but still try and be like, just pretend. Be like, you look stunning. Like, you know, when you've had 5 glasses of Prosecco and you're in the bathroom mirror and you're like, wow, try and get that energy every day.